Welcome to this impromptu vlog as Dominic Raab, the former Deputy Prime Minister and the former Secretary of State for Justice, yes, he was ultimately in charge of our family courts, gets a taste of his own medicine as I expose the parallels between the investigation and findings of fact in relation to him bullying staff and the madness of what's going on in fact-finding hearings in the family court. This is going to be explosive, but before I can crack on, I simply must run my excellent introduction. I am Philip Kedge, a retired police chief inspector, the director of the brilliant Mckenzie Friends UK network and fearless family court vlogger. In all my vlogs, my views and opinions are, of course, entirely my own. Now, if you would like to find a Mckenzie friend for family court support, or if you would like a one-to-one case review with myself, then simply contact me today at contactphil.co.uk. So, Dominic Raab, the former Secretary of State for Justice, the minister who was in charge of our broken, inept, incompetent and incomprehensible family court, has himself been subjected to a fact-finding process and resigned after 2 findings of bullying were found against him. To cut a long story short, he is now furious to have been thrown under the bus, having been found on balance of probability to be a bully for upsetting the sensitivities of some civil servants, that they felt intimidated, that they felt threatened, when he expressed his views that he found their work to be utterly useless and woeful, or that briefings lacked basic information, and for making unconstructive comments. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that seems no different to the madness of what is going on every day in the family courts that he was responsible for, where resident parents, who are mostly mothers, seek to throw the non-resident parent, who are mostly fathers, under the family court bus with spurious allegations based on feeling upset, feeling intimidated and feeling fearful, in order to minimise, reduce, restrict and deny child contact. Dominic Raab states that in his case there was a tyranny of hurt feelings. Oh well, what did he think goes on in the family court, as fathers are denied contact with their children for months and months on end, based on nothing more than a tyranny of hurt feelings. Dominic Raab complains that many of the allegations were historical, some being 4.5 years old. Well, what about the family court, with judges from Planet Stupid listing spurious allegations for fact-finding hearings frequently going back over a decade? Judge in 2011, he once raised his voice and scared me and the baby. Oh, that's domestic abuse and child abuse, and it is relevant to whether you can see your child now, who is not a baby, but 12 years of age. So, let's take a look at Raab's resignation letter, where he states, and I quote, "In setting the threshold for bullying so low, this inquiry has set a dangerous precedent. It will encourage spurious complaints against ministers and have a chilling effect on those driving change on behalf of your government." Well, that's interesting. Let me make a couple of changes to come up with my own quote. In setting the threshold for domestic abuse so low, the family court has set a dangerous precedent. It will encourage spurious complaints against fathers and have a chilling effect on the emotional and mental welfare of children. In his Telegraph newspaper article, he states, "If that is now the threshold for bullying in government, it is the people of this country who will pay the price." Well, once again, let me do a bit of editing. If that is now the threshold for domestic abuse in the family court, it is the children who will pay the price. I'm not kidding. Fathers having findings of domestic abuse and child abuse made against them for raising their voice in irritation, for walking in an angry manner, and of course, the absolute classic, where a son farts on his father as a joke, and the father responds with a few understandable expletives. That was considered as child abuse. We do indeed live in a mad, mad world, and it's an irony that Dominic Raab, the former Secretary of State of Justice, has now himself been thrown under the bus. So, a few words in conclusion. On one hand, I feel very sorry for Dominic Raab. He has been put to the sword based on spurious allegations of self-proclaimed victimhood, and that's simply not right. My God, I remember the days of being a chief inspector. You wouldn't survive 10 seconds in that job if you were a shrinking violet snowflake. However, on the other hand, I have absolutely no sympathy for Dominic Raab at all. What has happened to him is poetic justice. He has had a taste of his own medicine. It's no different to the daily destruction of lives and childhoods in the family court based on false victimhood and the culture of my truth, my feelings, and my lived-in experiences, made by resident parents, the mostly mothers, motivated by unfettered emotions, irrational anxieties, and hate. On that basis, as he was the minister in charge of our family courts and didn't lift a finger to identify these issues, he needs to suck it up, buttercup, wipe away his tears and pull up his big boy pants. He needs to consider himself fortunate. Yes, fortunate, because unlike the thousands of fathers experiencing the Kafkaesque nightmare of the family court, he still gets to go home to see his children. Well folks, that's me done, and I really had to get that one off my chest. So, if you would like to contact me with your thoughts and your experiences, or if you would like a case review with myself on any aspect of your child arrangements case, please contact me right now at contactphil.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all of your family court needs. Until next time, stay strong.